Finally got around to seeing all of Wednesday. So, let's take a look at it. Short version, Jenna Ortega is amazing. She is what kept me going through the show. And that's not to say that I hated the rest of the show, but she outshines virtually everything else in this show by such a wide margin. I was really watching the show for her. Her Wednesday is so good. And like nailing disaffection in a way that is engaged and interesting to watch is really hard. It's really tough to come across as that disaffected, that flat, but be really compelling to look at. And she does it. She is so fantastic in this part. I could go on just forever about how good she was. The tiniest little changes in expression to relay, how she thought or how she felt or what she was thinking, but like mostly just that stare. Oh, it was really good. That's not to say nobody else in the show was good. I liked Enid. Enid was a solid character. There were some folks who are just performers I like to see, like Gwendolyn Christie. Luis Guzman was better than I thought he'd be as Gomez. And Catherine Zeta-Jones was not as good as I thought she'd be as Morticia. I think the thing is she's kind of mean. Morticia's not mean. Morticia's morbid and dark, like the whole family is, but she's not bitchy. And this version of her kind of is a little bit, which that threw me off. Didn't love that. I tell you what I could have done without. Massively could have done without. The love interests. Either of them. God, they were dull and boring and uninteresting. And, well, Wednesday had the best chemistry with Enid. Like, full stop. If you're going to have a romantic interest, her and Enid balance each other really interestingly. That could work. In that kind of Deadpool 2, Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio kind of way. Like, I could see that. That could definitely work. They had way better performance chemistry than she had with the other guys. And the chemistry wasn't bad on her end, but, like, they were not great. Eugene was a character who grew on me. I didn't like how he kept trying to hit on Wednesday initially. It was like, Eugene, give it a rest. But, like, he was sweet. I liked him. I dug him by the time it was done. I'll tell you one of the weirder things about watching this is it's set in Vermont and just no. They shot it in like Bulgaria or something. Bulgaria does not pass for Vermont. It's not even close. No. Definitely not. And like the thing that I don't realize if people who don't live here realizes Jericho's a real town. It's not even a fictional town in Vermont. It's a real town and big no. Like no. Just no. So that was something like every time I got a reminder that it was set in Vermont, I was like, wait, what? Just okay, sure. And also, like, they set it in Vermont, but they gave it like a weird, twisted, Salem-esque or Plymouth kind of backstory, which, also no. And like, this doesn't wreck the thing, but it's just one of those things where, like, boy, you might as well have not said what state that was in. Because you weren't trying. It didn't drag it down. It was kind of amusing to me, to be completely honest. As I said, Jenna Ortega was the reason to stick with this. The story itself, the mysteries involved around sort of the background and the history with Morticia and Gomez, with the people who start dying with the supposed monster that's running loose. I'll give you a warning before I talk spoilers, because I will eventually. That's intriguing enough. I see why they thought they needed all that. And like, that kind of setting is a decent setting to drop Wednesday in, especially because they largely decided she was going to be kind of Velma-ing this whole thing, just be in detective mode. So, those story elements, those aspects, they work fine. I'll tell you the one element of that clashes with Wednesday a little bit is that by the end, I started tallying up how often she would go off half-cocked, like so certain, and like just confront somebody and accuse them of something, and like, no, definitely not. But she would do it with such certainty that after a while, it starts to come across less like she's being smart and putting pieces together, and more like she's just throwing a dart at a dartboard of suspects and going, I'm going to confront that one today. Eventually, I'll be right. So that in that way, the story structure kind of hindered her a little bit. But like this general style of story, that works for her. That fits. The visual presentation was, it was Tim Burton. Tim Burton is and his aesthetic, because he wasn't the only director. It was just kind of the primary one. It was based around his general aesthetic and look. His way of approaching things visually is a good fit for Addams Family style stuff, especially if you're going to go slightly darker Addams Family and actually have people die. Yeah, that works. It was nice. Some of the other cast members that were nice to see. Christina Ricci showing up was just nice. It was just, remember your roots. Very nice. Some of the other characters, like a lot of the other students were decent. Like, here's one of the weird things about the structure. It's set at a school. I don't think we see anything class related. Like, we see these sort of like tournament of events, and there's a school dance. Everybody remembers the school dance, obviously. But like, I don't remember classes ever coming up to the point that it's like, it might as well have been a summer camp. But then I guess the flip side is that while some of the teen characters were endearing, I'm not sure most of this teen cast could have carried the thing if it had been more classroom focused. Again, like, nobody's awful, but like, the only ones keeping pace with even slightly with Jenna Ortega are the character of Enid and some of the adults. Pretty much none of the other students or teenagers are. And like, again, that doesn't mean that they're doing bad, but again, like, she's up here and they're hovering around here, which is fine, but like, I suppose the last thing, I guess I will talk spoilers a little bit now, because the ending was very weird. Or more specifically, the climax was very weird. Or maybe I don't need to go. No, I guess it's kind of spoilery for me to. Yeah, I need to go into spoilers. So that's your warning if you haven't seen the end of it. Overall, I do recommend it, but pretty much for her. She's incredible. She's great in the part, and I love the character, and I'm excited for a new season. Hopefully with a more solid story structure around her. So the climax at the very end. Why in a mystery show, like, I'm not going to inherently question the supernatural elements. Supernatural stuff's been established from the beginning. That's fine. But why in a story that is being unraveled and pitched as just find out who's behind everything, is there this weird superpowered end boss who's like the resurrected old pilgrim dude who has a magic staff for some reason? Like, did that ever get established? I mean, I know like the statue was holding a staff. That's not enough to go off of. And so, like, he's got this whole thing against outcasts and magic users and the supernatural, and he gets resurrected by magic and uses a magic staff. Like, dude, like, I suppose the hypocrisy fits for that kind of character. I get that, but again, like, why are we doing this? It was a very strange climax. It's also really unclear what happened to Christina Ricci's character at the very end as to whether or not, I mean, like, it's implied maybe Wednesday killed her, but I thought they would have established that more firmly, especially considering that they do cover what happens to, I can't remember the character's actual name, the Hyde. You know, our surprise, oh, the love interest is actually a monster. Oh, that's so shocking. It never goes that way because he's obviously the most unlikely suspect because he was the soft boy of the potential love interests. And I actually do kind of like the look of the Hyde, how off-puttingly ugly it is. And not like in a, oh, that's a disturbing, creepy, just like, ugh. What? Ugh. It looks like it was done from a sketch that like an 8-year-old would do if they were told to design a monster. Just huge bug eyes and like, ah. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's like, it's off-putting in a way that works. So I'll give it that. But I feel like I've complained about this more than I've praised it. Ultimately, as weak as a lot of the surrounding elements are, Jenna Ortega is so good in this part. The rest of it honestly doesn't really matter. Everything else is good enough. The story's good enough. The aesthetic is complementary to what she's doing. The cast is good enough with a couple of other highlights, but it's her. She rules the roost in this thing, and she carries the whole damn thing on her back, and admirably well. Wednesday. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and allows me to do this as my living. Any amount you are able to contribute is of great assistance, even if you can't. Like, share, subscribe, help me out as well, but don't worry too much about it. Take a relaxed attitude around here so you can come on back next time you need a break. This video wouldn't have been possible without my supporters over on Patreon, and I would especially like to thank Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Ruth, Oliver B., Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Imudelki, Leotha Boyd, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Bernabe Lax the Poodle, Robin Powell, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Tim Price, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, David Hall, General Contact Unit Problem Child, Shayla Gourlay, and Rosalind Bennett. Thank you so much.